This morning we will see and read another amazing miracle the Lord performed. The Lord healed two persons at the same time, a woman who suffered for 12 years of issue of blood, and also the Lord raised a dead little girl. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come to his house. For he had an only daughter about 12 years of age, and she was dying. But as he went, the multitudes thronged him. Now a woman having a flow of blood for 12 years, who had spent all her livelihood on physicians and could not be healed by any, came from behind and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her flow of blood stopped. And Jesus said, "Who touched me?" When all denied it, Peter and those with him said, "Master, the multitudes throng and press you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus said, "Somebody touched me, for I perceived power going out from me." Now when the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling, and falling to him down before him, she declared to him in the presence of all the people the reason she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said to her, "Daughter, be of good cheer. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." While he was still speaking, someone came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, "Your daughter is dead. Do not trouble the teacher." But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, "Do not be afraid, only believe, and she will be made well." When he came into the house, he permitted no one to go in except Peter, James, and John, and the father and mother of the girl. Now all wept and mourned for her, but he said, "Do not weep, she is not dead, but sleeping." And they ridiculed him, knowing that she was dead. But he put them all outside, took her by the hand, and called, saying, "Little girl, arise." Then her spirit returned, and she arose immediately, and he commanded that she be given something to eat. And her parents were astonished, but he charged them to tell no one what had happened. Amen. We say the Lord is the way, the truth, and the life. So the Lord showed in his short life on earth the best example, how to live, how to do things. And the Lord commanded his disciples and his followers, "You shall love one another." But the Lord just didn't say that. "You shall love one another as I have loved you." So throughout his life, the Lord showed how to love other people. And in this reading this morning, we see another beautiful image of the Lord's love. He healed two women and made them better. The Lord came back from the other side of Galilee, and many people, multitudes, they gathered there to see the Lord. And one person perhaps singled out, and this person ran into the Lord, and he fell at the feet of the Lord. He was Jairus. He was a ruler of the synagogue. So his position was pretty high. Perhaps he was really respected in the Jewish community. So he was the perhaps chairperson of the board nowadays, being in charge of the matters of the church. But he had a really big problem. His only one daughter, 12 years old, was dying. So he came to the Lord to ask him to come to his house. And the Lord, he was willing to go with him to his house to make young girl better. But on his way, so many people still waiting for him outside, and they thronged him. And the Lord felt some power was going out from himself. But there were too many people, so Peter and his disciples, Lord, look at the people around you, and how could you say someone touched me? But the Lord was very sure, someone touched me, and I perceived power was going out from me. And the lady couldn't be hidden anymore. So she came out and she told the truth, what happened. She was suffering the issue of blood, the flow of blood, perhaps hemorrhage, for 12 years. And she tried everything, but she couldn't be better. So she came to the Lord, but she didn't have that courage to come to before the Lord. So perhaps she sneaked and came to the Lord and touched the hem, the border of the garment. And what happened? She became better immediately. And interestingly, in this teaching, in this reading, we will see quite often immediately. Perhaps everything happened right away when the Lord did something and the people touched the Lord. While the Lord was engaged in that conversation with the woman, a man, a person from the ruler's house came to the spot and reported, "Don't bother teacher anymore, because your daughter passed away. She died." But surprisingly, the Lord said, "She will be made well. She is sleeping." And the Lord insisted on coming to Jairus' house. And the Lord put his hand, and then the Lord said, "Little girl, arise." And what happened? Her life was returned immediately, and she came back to life. So we can see joy and happiness. Her parents and her family members shared together. And perhaps they were very grateful to the Lord for He has done. In this teaching, we see the Lord's amazing miracle. And we may wonder why the Lord put those amazing things in His holy book. Because it is the Lord's promise that He will do the same thing for us. When we follow the Lord, when we come to the Lord with our problems, here a young girl who was dying, and we might have all that similar problem, which is we don't feel any energy, any willingness, any enthusiasm to be better, to do kind things, to help other people. We just don't want to do that. The Lord, I feel I don't have energy left within me. My all willingness, my all good desires somehow died out. This is a serious problem because we should love one another and we should be helpful to each other. We need to be useful for the Lord and His church and our neighbor. And we need to bring this issue to the Lord. But even we need to come closer to the Lord. Maybe we touch the Lord's garment. In other words, we come to the Lord's close presence. And when we bring our issues in our prayer, the Lord will make us better. And we feel, oh, He knows everything. Why I bother to bring that to the Lord specifically? But even the Lord knows everything. The Lord waits for the time we have the willingness to get better, to change certain things. And that happens when we bring it verbally, in our action, in our desperation to the Lord. And in that cooperation, the Lord can make us better. Let us bring our issues and problems, our diseases to the Lord, so that all these things can be better by the Lord's touch. Amen.